Okay. Is everybody happy with that? Now, let's
With what?
write an ordinance so that we
With
can
what?
agree. Yeah.
I have a question. Last meeting, it was Mr. Brylup who made the motion and it was seconded by Mrs. Minnie. Does that just stand, you leave that and you make a new one, or do they ask for their motions to be, if they decide to do that? I didn't know if that's what-
Well, it is easier if the person in the prevailing side makes a motion to reconsider their own prior, anyone from the prevailing side, it was 5-0 though, right, on this one?
It was,
Yeah.
that's right.
Anyone can pass a motion to do this, plus, I mean, you can amend your ordinances anytime, it's not like the contractor, but it's something where you spend money, this is always something that you can vote on, provided it's properly noticed.
Yes. I mean, we all agreed it was helping probably 90% of the people. So
Yeah, well, and what you did
But-
helped people, and now the question
Yeah.
is, do you want to go even further? And you
Well, you got to fair to everybody, I think, personally. I mean, I want it to cover everybody, and I don't care. Let's get there the easiest way we can if we can. I mean, if the other 4 people don't want it to cover commercial, then, you know, if there's not enough that want it to cover commercial, there's no sense in, we don't have to go any farther, we can go on.
Well, I think we're in agreement here that, that we want to,
Well, I think so.
cover that. I think what we need to agree upon is how we get
How
to
to do it.
that, how we get to that,
Right,
how do we get to that,
Just to cover it.
you know, that avenue. And, somebody want to make an attempt at,
A motion?
at a motion to,
And
do we
then,
have to amend this motion? Is that?
I don't think we have to amend it. They can, the person that, as Doug said, the persons that made the motion seconded at the last meeting could make a motion to, I don't know, are we amending it or we just redo? Yeah, I don't know, we're not amending it. We're doing, right? Is that the same thing? We've never had this before, Doug.
A lawful non-conforming building or structure or non-conforming use occurring on a premise with a building or structure that has been damaged or partially destroyed by fire or other calamity to an extent, to any extent. And then just go down to the next sentence where it says at the time of the destruction. Wouldn't that cover it, Doug? If you just were, start with not exceeding 60% of 2 times the assessed valuation of the building. If you just took that out. I think you need the rest of it. So I mean, you want to give them a year or whatever, but.
And then you don't need the withstanding, right? Notwithstanding.
Yeah,
you delete that,
yeah, just calamity
maybe.
to any,
restore.
maybe, yeah, calamity to any extent.
Just remember, when the calamity may be restored,
Yeah.
you take out that, and then,
Well, this is good, yeah, this is good.
Take out the 2 times ruling.
Come in 1 year, that's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
and then this really
If
is
you want to sit there for 5 years, wait for it to do it.
I don't like to have
Not
to live in
necessary,
there
but it's
for a
also-
year either, I mean, you know.
doesn't,
You take that, I do hurt it.
you know, doesn't hurt anything either.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, wouldn't that take care
Take
of
this
it?
whole thing out.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to.
Yeah, the notwithstanding
It could
on
just
down
be
goes.
These first
That's
2.5
true.
lines, and then,
Just take all that
yeah,
out.
And then what?
completion.
Okay, not exceeding 60%, 2 times the assessed valuation of the building at the time of destruction.
And take the last sentence.
Take those out of there and then maybe restored, and it's immediate and previously occupied use, resume, right?
Did you take out the partial destruction, did you say, and make it just of such destruction? 1 year the date of destruction as opposed to
I
partial?
think the calamity and to the, you're going to take out to the extent not exceeding 60% of 2 times the assessed valuation of the building at the time of destruction.
Right.
Is that it? And
You take out that clause,
here,
and then you would take out the following sentence that begins,
Maybe.
whenever a non-conforming building, all the way through purposes.
Mhm.
That sentence would no longer be necessary. Down through here,
All the way down, take that all out
yeah, you
completely,
would, no, yeah, because it only applies
if it's 60%.
to something that's, you were trying to make them meet the new bar. So if you're not interested in having to meet the bar, then the sentence beginning whenever, that whole sentence can come out. And then
Mhm.
the remaining question would be, do we keep the underlying part that was the red line?
I don't think so.
And I would not. Because frankly, someone will just read it and say, well, why do you need notwithstanding if there wasn't anything taken out in the first place? Those notwithstanding usually put something back in after it was taken out, and there really isn't anything taken out anymore, so you don't need it.
That would make it pretty plain and simple.
It does.
Yep.
So are we covered on non-conforming use
Yeah.
completely, let's say, you know, along 25, the southern end of the township where that's all commercial?
So in the very first line, it applies to non-conforming buildings,
Buildings or
structures, or
structures or
non-conforming uses occurring on a conforming lot.
On a premises.
Which should cover
Very simple statement.
Take everything, right?
Everything always gets to be rebuilt. That's what you want, that's the
That
language
was
that does it.
So the only people that are
Prior-
gonna be upset about this is the planning commission.
Mm-hmm.
But
Some,
no,
some of them will,
all-
some of them won't.
Not all of them.
You know, if you're the neighbor to somebody who has a business that's right on the property line, I mean,
Yeah.
these are intended to make for good neighbors and good neighborhoods.
Mhm.
So you have somebody who has got something right on theirs, or that is next to a property that doesn't have enough of its own property, and its customers spill over onto your lot. I mean, but the victims of what you're, are very amorphous and hard to see and kind of define through. But, you know, there is a societal benefit that we're losing by bringing it up to today's standards for space and intensity.
We don't need to stress, because everybody will interpret this non-conforming word, we don't need to stress anything built prior to 2006 in here then, because the non-conforming handles it. I'm
Right.
thinking down the road,
You
when
got
we're
it?
not here any longer, so there's no debate as to what would be,
That's my motion,
okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this to everybody.
just to highlight it.
You don't want me to read it all? The lawful non-conforming building or structure or non-conforming use occurring on the premise of the building or structure that has been damaged or partially destroyed by fire or calamity may be restored and its immediate previously occupancy or use existing at the time of such damage or partial destruction may be continued to be resumed, provided the restoration is commenced within 1 year of the date of such partial destruction as in diligently carried out to completion.
Do you want the partial in there?
Take the partial off.
I think both partials need to go, what do you think?
Mhm.
Because it could be partial or it could be
Yeah.
complete.
No, it's,
Oh, but that makes
Such
sense to me,
partial
that makes it clear
destruction.
that if it's
Okay,
full destruction or partial, you get
Okay.
to rebuild in both instances.
okay, got it.
that would be my motion.
Don't lose that.
You can have it.
And I will second it again.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to change this non-conforming ordinance again to what was just read. Do you want me to read it, or do you want, I'll give you this copy?
Right, I'll just take that copy.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnie?
Yes.
Mr. Platzer?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes,
Mrs. Tremble, yes.
motion carries.
And this was as done as an amendment to the prior motion?
Yeah.
To last week's motion. Right.
Okay. Moving on, and I'd like to get this covered because of the length of time that it's going to be until our next board meeting, our regular scheduled board meeting, are these contracts from the county, St. Clair County Road Commission. I'd like to get these things going and, you know,
Mr. Supervisor, you done this?
I am. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For taking the time.
Uh,
Okay, before we get into these, I know you didn't get much time to look at them, I guess. Just to bring you up to speed a little bit on the budget. We budgeted $135,000 for roads. Our work orders that we have here tonight total $159,919.80. The county has match funds for us of $28,972, possibly. It's because the county commissioners haven't approved those match funds yet. Did you know that, Al? They're still discussing what they're gonna do with the CDA. They haven't approved, I talked to Sandra, unless they just did it in the last few days, I just.
Well, they would have had their board meeting on Thursday night, and I haven't heard anything that they passed anything.
Well, and I can
tried
still
to
talk
deny
with
it,
her. So it would give us then a balance, a positive balance, if that $28,000 is still available to us, a positive balance of $4,052. I don't know if we want to approve all of these tonight, maybe hold back on the ditching. The road work, they're gonna wanna get started on it pretty soon, I would think, until we know for sure what we're getting for match funds, but it's up to all of you. So we have Harris Road at $109,916.80 to repave it. The chloride, they
We
should.
don't have a work order on that, though.
Yeah.
Do we?
Well,
I mean, other than this, I mean, we don't
this
have
is
a.
it,
That's all you're ever gonna get.
that's all we're gonna get. It explains the whole thing.
You don't
No,
know.
but don't we usually get a work order that we sign?
Did you sign like this?
Once the bids go through,
Pardon me?
once it's bid, then
Yeah.
we'll probably get a work order.
Okay.
This is,
This is,
Yeah, I know,
This is
this
the
is just-
estimated
we just
engineer.
approve 110,000, up to 110,000.
Right. You have the first and second chloride, and, you know, usually this stuff comes in under what they're projecting, the limestone hall. I'm not gonna count on the fact that it's gonna come in under much of what they're quoting now.
Well, I don't think we want to pass them on the idea that they're gonna be less than what they're quoting us.
No,
We need
not
to
at all.
quote the amount of money that they are,
Right.
so.